Before you fully recovered from the holiday chaos and mayhem, before you kick into losing those 10 pounds from eggnog and pumpkin, before you write your overdue thank you notes for fruitcake, and before you throw away the clutter of holiday cards that make you feel guilty for just not sending yours out on time, there are huge, valuable lessons to learn about your business that can make tremendous, tremendous impact on the year ahead. So here are 7 things to look at in review, which might just inspire the deck the halls out of you and give you some new year perspective to focus on. You ready? Number 1, review your customer behavior objectively from the past year. Now, there are a lot of things that we can do to review what worked and what didn't work. The key to remember is that there is no such thing as a bad stat. Every single measure, every single piece of information is helpful. So we're going to look at this objectively, and we're going to learn from absolutely everything that happened this past year. And the other part of this is that statistics are always right. So that's what I love so much about data, is that the data does tell you the truth. And it's our job just to accept that truth and learn from it. So what does review mean? Here are a few questions to ask and to study. Did your customers communicate more or less during certain times of the year? So look at the full year of your communication and really look at, like, were there times during the year when they reached out to you more, and were there times where you just didn't hear anything from them? Most likely that will repeat itself in this next year. So you can actually project, looking at 2019, when you can expect to hear from your customers more or less. And you can plan your own communication strategy around that. Were there channels of communication that were more or less successful for you? Did you hear from them more from email or Facebook comments or Instagram? Or possibly, if you have a brick and mortar store, was it more, face-to-face communication or email, phone, whatever it is that has been working? Take note of that. And obviously, if you have an advertising budget, you would want to invest in the more successful methods of communication. Of your customers, and possibly just of your general audience, who communicated consistently? Are these people that you could call a super fan? Would you be able to maybe convert them into an affiliate or an ambassador for your brand? Is this a group of super fans that you could put onto their own Facebook group or at least an email list? And thinking into the next year, what fun things could we do for these super fans that would incentivize them to promote your brand even more? And then the final part of this review step is the most technical, and that's to really study the analytics. Yes, this means being comfortable looking at Google Analytics and studying the flow of traffic on your website throughout the year. We want to look at your conversion rate. So you actually want to study the entire past year and look at how much traffic did you have. Now, of that number, how many sales, or whatever your metric of success is, how much business did you do? So when you compare what percentage of the traffic actually became a sale, we want to at least match that, if not surpass that, in this next year. That gives you a sense, it gives you a baseline to be able to evaluate the success of future campaigns. Metrics, analytics, they are your friend. They are great and helpful so that you're able to grade yourself and know how well you're doing. So that's the review. Ready to move on to number 2? Number 2. This is possibly my favorite of all of the steps, and that's looking at Google Trends. Google Trends is maybe the best kept secret in the land of Google. It's a free tool where they share all of their data with us. So you're able to actually see what people searched on throughout this past year. So you can plug in and compare keywords, key phrases, concepts, ideas, anything related to your industry, and you can see, were they relevant search queries? and how did they compare with one another. Now, this can be really finessed so that you can actually compare one key phrase against another. For me, for example, I was able to see that the word WordPress compared to the word website had two very different values in today. Now, the thing about Google Trends is it's real-time data. So within the past 12 months, WordPress has skyrocketed in value compared to years past. That's great for me to know. Based on studying Google Trends, I can improve the quality of my keywords that I use on my website and throughout social media. That, in turn, can be used for planning your blog post and your media plan in the year 2019. So by studying Google Trends, you can improve the quality of your content as it relates to SEO and Google for the next year. That's really cool. Number 3, let's identify any problems and pain points that occurred in the past year. Were there possibly some unhappy customers? Did they leave any negative feedback or reviews? Did you have any difficulty with staff or vendors? Maybe did you have any technical difficulty with any of your systems? Were there breakdowns in communication? Did you maybe lapse in social engagement for a period of time? Did you feel burnt out or just didn't want to come to work for a period of time? You know, really take stock of what bothered you in the privacy of our own space. Be honest with where we can make improvements and what would it take to improve. Is that a matter of setting aside a budget or time to clean something up and make it better? That is essential to looking at the next year and planning ahead now. Number 4. So now that we've looked at all of this stuff, now we get to really start planning ahead for the next year. In Getting Things Done, David Allen calls this a tickler file, and I'm just taking it and expanding it a little bit further. I call it my holiday tickler file. What I like to do is, over the course of a year, I collect examples that I receive, both corporate and personal, that inspire me. Whether these are physical gifts or emails or ad campaigns or something on social that I just think is absolutely amazing. The thing about doing this right at the beginning of the year is that this enables you to plan early and way in advance. If you see something that possibly needs to be produced or needs an ad budget, what would you need both with time and money to produce something that cool? Try and get everything ready by September of 2019. And I promise you, you will stay sane. You won't be running around like a mad, crazy person. But by planning now, you're actually saving yourself a lot of time and money, most likely. And that brings us to number 5. Plan and secure your holiday marketing budget early so you can have some extra ad dollars if helpful. Successful businesses plan in the first quarter. They then go into production and execution in the second and third quarter, so that by the time the holidays actually come in Q4, it's purely execution. This is also the way so that you can have ample time to meet cuts if you don't meet earlier projections, and that will save you wasted expenses that aren't justified. Number 6. This is the time to start thinking about aligning with new influencers and partners. This takes time, which we all know, to develop those relationships and to really strategically negotiate terms and making sure that there's an agreement in place. So believe it or not, this really is the perfect time to get onto another company's radar for the 2019 holidays. That brings us to number 7. Don't forget mobile. What ways can you improve the mobile experience for 2019? So think about the actual user experience and learn how to segment out the mobile traffic so that you can keep your eye on this metric. So I know that this is a lot, but I'm actually suggesting a way for you to look like a marketing rock star and not be insane by the fourth quarter of this coming up year. So gather ideas early and get 2019 off to a strong start and improve your holiday marketing. By planning ahead and learning from the past, you'll ensure this holiday season will be better than ever.